Hello and welcome to the Struggles to Success podcast, the podcast that helps you use struggles to become stronger, better, and more successful. I am Dr. Emmanuel, your host, and it's a real pleasure to welcome all of you to this podcast. I want to take a moment to also thank you because this podcast is growing very fast. The audience is growing very fast. In the last month, we've moved from 200 subscribers to over 2,000 subscribers. So 10 times in a month. So that is really what we've been trying to do. We are on a mission to ensure that everybody learns the skill of turning struggles to success. And with your help, we are making it happen. We are changing lives and you are also changing your life. So keep doing what you're doing. Subscribe, share, and like. Now, today's conversation is going to be a great conversation. I've been looking forward to this conversation, looking forward to it because it's a topic which cuts across all aspects of life. I went to the gym today and I was trying to improve my performance in the gym, running on the treadmill, trying to run faster. I went for a swim, also trying to run fast, to swim faster. And it's also what we do at work. We're at work trying to improve performance. I'm a doctor, infectious disease physician, and I'm always trying to improve quality, patient safety, activity, and of course, trying to grow the business in the hospital. It also applies to our relationships, trying to make our relationships better, etc., etc. So the topic is improving performance and high performance. And I am really delighted to welcome our special guest today. He is somebody who is an expert in the field. And our guest is Gaj Ravichandra. Now, you may not know him, so I'm going to give you a picture of who he is. Gaj, I've read his bio and it is fascinating. So bear with me. So he is a highly sought after high performance coach. He is somebody with a lot of experience in coaching people to become excellent, to improve their performance. He is a psychologist by background. He is Australian, but working in Dubai, and family is back in Australia. And he works with people all over the world through his company called Compass Consultancy, which is a talent management consultancy helping people to improve their performance in different fields. So he helps leaders become more effective in leadership. He helps individuals improve their performance. Sports teams also become better at what they do in sports. Educational institutions also becoming better in education. All aspects really of performance. And so I know I've got your attention and I know you are going to leave this session with things that you're going to do to change your life and become more successful. So it's really a pleasure to welcome you, Gaj. You're very welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And I think it's never easy listening to someone talk about yourself. But I appreciate that introduction, and I really love your mission. I think it is such a wonderful thing that you do, and I really don't know how you have the time to do this, but clearly it is something of value and importance to you and to your community. I think it's terrific. So yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for accepting to join the podcast. Thank you also for joining the mission, and thank you for giving, because you're going to give people today free information and information that may change their lives. And so that is what this is all about. And that's why we do what we do, try and change lives. And so I've introduced you and painted a picture so people should see who you are. Is there anything you want to add to what I've just said?
I think the biggest part for me is that, we all go through struggle, and I've got a couple of struggles that I can talk about, today on a personal level. What I love about struggle is that it's through the struggle that where growth happens. And I think for me, growth has become the number one important criteria in determining the quality of my life. It used to be happiness, Emmanuel. I used to strive for happiness. That was the thing that I always wanted to have. And then I realized that happiness is very transitory. As one of my uncles says, it's between two periods of sadness, right? And
Wow.
so one of the things about happiness is that really the goal, the thing that I'm striving for, or is it the growth? And the growth happens in the struggle. So I think this is a very apt podcast to be on, talking about this. Because I think for me, that's what I'm keen on doing, and supporting other people, to grow.
What you just said so resonates so much with me and the mission of getting people to learn that skill of struggle, turning struggles into success. As you say, great people don't just go through a struggle. They use it to grow and also make other people grow through the struggle. And that's what great people do. And it helps you also to innovate, learn problem solving skills, become more resilient, learn leadership skills. And at the end of it, as you mentioned, the outcome, you become healthier, you may become wealthier, you become more fulfilled.
Yeah.
You don't shy away from solving problems. You actually may enjoy solving problems, and you may even find your passion and purpose in life, and improve relationships. So there are real benefits in learning this skill. Certainly on the personal level, learning it means that I tend to go towards a struggle. When there's a problem, a big problem, I tend to gravitate towards it and use it actually to make things better. And I'm sure from your story, we're going to hear something really similar. So really looking forward to it. So I wanted to start, tell us how you got to where you've got to now. I'm sure it wasn't just a walk in the park. We're all eyes open and ears listening.
Yeah, so I think the struggles really started. I was born in Sri Lanka, in the north of Sri Lanka, in a town or a city called Jaffna. I'm a Sri Lankan Tamil, and when I was 4 years old, my parents moved from Sri Lanka to Australia. It
Wow.
was probably one of the best decisions that they made. There was civil unrest, civil war unfolding in Sri Lanka at the time.
Mm,
There was a lot of issues with the Sri Lankan government and the minority groups, in particular the Tamils. So my parents made this decision, which a lot of parents around the world, make this very brave, courageous decision to uproot, right, their family and their history,
mm,
and to move to a new place for a better way of life. And my parents decided to do that. Fortunately, they had an uncle who was in Canberra, the capital of Australia at the time, and we moved there. My dad is a civil engineer, and he was unemployed for the first 6 months. It would have been a very difficult time for him. I don't remember any of that difficulty because I was 4 years old. I had a younger daughter who was 2, and I was with my cousins. So we had a great time living with them, for the first 2 years. But it wasn't until I think, going through school, and I remember certain things that happened to me upon reflection, right? That kind of really laid down very important anchors in my life that then were like benchmarks for me.
man.
One of the first one I remember was when I was 8 years old, is when I was introduced to this concept of the people pleasing approach. I don't know if you're a people pleaser, Emmanuel, or you've managed to get yourself out of that mode. But for most of my life, I have been a people pleaser. And what happened was, I remember coming home with my report card. And I don't know, you might have had a similar experience to this. Grades are very important, right? Our report card is very
Extremely
important to us.
important. Extremely important.
Um,
Also, I'm from Africa, so that background was grades are extremely important. You report at the end of every term with your report card for your parents to inspect.
particularly the collectivist cultures, right? Where, if we don't do well, it brings shame on our family, it brings shame on our community. It's not just the individualistic, sort of approach, right? So I was by that point, been in the country for 3-4 years. I brought the report card home. The only grade that I got, which was not an A, was English. I got a B. And my mother didn't speak to me for 3 days, right? Now, she didn't do that to intentionally hurt me. She was just dealing with her own sort of issues right around that. And the way that story got created in my mind, the narrative or the script that was created in that moment as an 8-year-old, was that if I don't please the people that love me, I might lose their love and affection. Now, I'm 8 years old. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, I'm 46 years old now. I still have elements of that, right? That dictate parts of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just more aware about that now, that I don't want that to control me, right? In terms of what I do. And so I think that 8-year-old Gaj, right, having that experience laid the foundation for a whole bunch of decades and decades of people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was an accident that I got into psychology, that I wanted to help people, that I wanted to make sure their lives were better. The relationships that I have with my friends, with my daughters, I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old daughter, very much about trying to please them wherever I can, and with my wife, right? So I think, that was a challenge that I needed to overcome. It has impacted many parts of my life. I've been a people pleaser in my own marriage for way too long, right? I think trying to please my wife and keep her happy, compromising one's own values, right? And I meet couples all the time, as part of our work, that do that. They feel that they need to please other people so that they don't have love or affection withdrawn from where they are. And so, a lot of these things, it reminded me that, who we are as adults, very much planted in our childhood and our early years. I thought, which was really interesting.
Amazing.
I don't know, were you a people pleaser? Or are you a people pleaser?
In some aspects, actually. So
Yeah.
I identify with nearly everything you've said there, with being a people's pleaser and always trying to please our wives, and happy wife and it's happy life, isn't it? That's a famous saying. So that we are also constantly on a mission to make sure our partner or husband, wives are comfortable. And so I completely identify with that. I also identify with immigration as leaving Cameroon and going to the UK and working our way through professional life there. But my father also emigrated to Australia, from Cameroon to Australia. We were in Canberra. So you were saying that, I was smiling.
Yeah,
So
it's fantastic.
it's amazing. It's amazing how much we have in common just by having a conversation. So my father also, we spent 3 years in Canberra as in primary school. And so I also identify with that, also needing to have very high performance.